On the morning that Raila Amolo Odinga left us, indeed less than an hour after the official time of passing on that we were given, some 8 bills were hurriedly signed inside State House. And one of those bills focused on cyber harassment. Now, you know, with these things, legal things, reading the small print is really what it is all about. This is the bill that has led to the establishment of a special police unit to deal with cyber crime. And it is not the kind of cyber crime you may think about. It is the kind of cyber crime, in quotes, involving the thoughts, the opinions of Kenyans in a country that is supposed to have free speech, very deeply entrenched in her constitution. But that is not even the main headline of the story here. No. Recently, some very familiar names have come up connected to pushing for this bill to be passed and the establishment of this thought police, if I can call it that, unit. And that is where the real story is. Hey, regulars on this channel will be very much aware of the fact that usually I give you advance warning, a heads up, about a show. And sometimes I inform you that the show you're about to take in is the kind of show that you'd better sit down. I usually recommend standing up for this show, watching it while you're standing somewhere. You need to sit down. And my friends, for this one, you need to sit down, please. Hey. In fact, I think what we're going to do, please, at the end of this show, tell me in the comments area below whether I was exaggerating or not. Yeah, and don't fear to tell me, Chris, you were exaggerating. There is nothing here. Yeah, it is okay. I'm a big boy. I have a thick skin. So don't worry. Tell me as it is according to your opinion. But my opinion, kaa chini tafadhali and prepare to get information you did not expect. It'll totally catch you off guard. Twende kazi. Now, before we proceed, please allow me to very quickly get a message across to our golden key holders on this channel who automatically receive all kinds of sensitive information. Now, some of you have reached out to me telling me that you are not able to get this and that information. Here's a quick tip. Remember the very first email I sent to you when you became a member? Please go back and you'll find a link to a playlist. That playlist includes all sensitive information and it is always updated. So all you have to do when you think you've missed something is to go back to that link of that playlist. You go into that playlist and you'll find right at the top the very latest sensitive information that maybe you think you've missed. Okay? And number 2, very quickly, towards the end of my show today, I will present some crazy footage that I've come across that sheds brand new light into the Cyrus Jirongo fiasco, if I can put it like that. So please stick with me for that one. You don't want to miss it. Right, let's get down to business. Now, some activists have gained a reputation of always releasing information that is spot on. As crazy as that information is, it always pans out. They have a record that is 100% correct. And some of those activists have mentioned 2 names that they have linked to the cyber crimes bill, one of the 8 that was quickly signed, just minutes after Baba passed on. Of course, it is obvious the reason why that happened was so that Kenyans would not notice how damaging these particular bills were. I have no idea even where public participation, a requirement of the Constitution, came in as far as these bills are concerned. Because they completely took Kenyans by surprise. And even those of us who read keenly through the amendments and those bills, we were shocked. Anyway, the mention of those 2 names, and especially one particular name, opened a can of worms and is a subject of my video today that I've already warned. This one is a video where you have to sit down for this information. Okay? Now, this latest information is very consistent, tallies with information that were given by a man called Rigathi Gachagua in January 2025, because he mentioned the same name and he told Kenyans, he claimed that this individual was the one who was in charge of abductions in the country called Kenya. You remember Kenyans are still very concerned about these mysterious abductions, because an abduction is not an arrest. It is something totally different. There is a procedure to an arrest. Kenyans have always been very concerned about abductions because anything can happen. The people who abduct you can do anything with you. And as we have seen in past incidences, you appearing at a cell in some police station is usually at the bottom of the list of options these abductors have. Usually, individuals disappear never to be seen again, or mili zao zinapatikana mahali wakiwa wameaga dunia. That is what has been happening. And I'm very much aware that there are many on this channel who don't want to hear anything which Rigathi Gachagua said. But this man has worked in government for decades, and his information so far, you will correct me if I'm wrong, there is no information he has given to the Kenyan public so far that has been proved to be false. So please allow me to proceed step by step as usual. So let me back up first so that we all understand. We have said on this channel quite a number of times that there is evidence that this particular unit existed even before the current administration came into power in the year 2022, September. Now, according to what we have seen so far, this is not just a bunch of goons who take orders and go and abduct people and do whatever they do. No, this is a complete unit that includes people with expertise on how to trace people using their mobile phones, spying software, etc., etc. The unit also includes, I'm trying to go very quickly, experts on wiping a crime scene clean so that anybody who comes after the fact looking for evidence to pin them or to pin on anybody will come up blank with nothing. We saw this very clearly in a number of incidences. If I can quickly mention 2, the one in Kitengela, where some 4 gentlemen vanished into thin air. Their car was found. Some of them were found. Of course, walikuwa wamemalizwa. I believe one of them was never found. And then the case of Police Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei, which most of us remember, which happened in 2020, early 2020. And at that time, we had a very serious DCI. Not like the one we have now. Let me just leave it there, okay? But they were still not able to get any evidence to pin this down on anybody, let alone to get any kind of breakthroughs in solving the case of Kene. Because the DCI at the time told us very clearly that they were sure the late police sergeant did not, and I repeat, did not take his own life. Now that you're convinced that this is a very elaborate unit with many, many individuals and members of this group or unit or whatever you want to call it, we now need to look at something that will blow your mind. And you will need to put on your thinking caps for this. Now imagine a situation where you had a unit like this, okay? And then because of public outcry, a lot of things happening, pressure from foreign governments, etc., etc., you're forced to shut down this particular unit, okay? You would have one major problem in your hands, a very major, major problem to solve. Can you guess what it is? I will tell you. These individuals, these people are too many, such that you would have no control over the flow of information from these individuals after you shut down the unit. Remember, you're putting people out of a job. Maybe they're earning some good money. Yeah, I'm sure they're earning some good money to keep their mouths shut. Yes. But now when you shut down the unit, you no longer have any control over the flow of information from the former members of this particular unit. In fact, chances are very high that some of them who may go through some hard times may decide to sell information for a lot of money, yeah, and reveal what you have been doing, okay? Na kumaliza wote is really not an option. Too messy, it's not an option. So, what would you do? Very simple. You would have to find a new assignment where the same skill sets would be required. Okay? I'm sure you're with me up to there. And the perfect solution, don't you think, would be this bill, yeah, which led to the establishment of a special police unit, a cyber police unit. Think about all the skill sets that would be required for such a unit, yes, because they're supposed to enforce, which means trace people through their phones, etc., etc., and charge them in a court of law. Yeah, the long and short of this operation is to scare the public into silence, is to scare the public away from exercising their constitutional right of freedom of speech and thought. Perfect solution because you would legitimize things, make things legal for this group, which previously has been operating outside the law. And so, if a name is mentioned that was behind pushing for this new legislation, if that name is mentioned and it can be linked to the previous unit, what would your conclusion be? I leave you to decide that one for yourself. You know, Kenyans have an expression, yeah, which goes like this. Bado hujaunganisha, umeunganisha. It means, have you joined the dots? Ama you've still not joined the dots. The information I've given you, and you can also get your own information, yeah, on the same. It is very easy to join the dots, very comfortably. Ay, 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 ay. Now this one is for those who are accountants here on this channel. This new move would also allow the owners, the people pushing this one, to clean up their books. Because you would guess, budgeting, financing, etc., etc., of these abduction boys before must have been very tricky. But when you legitimize it, it is in our laws, a budget can be allocated from taxpayers' money directly. You clean up the books very nicely. Game short, neat solution. Now, as promised earlier, the footage which sheds new light into the Cyrus Njirongo fiasco is just crazy. It reveals quite a number of very controversial things that have not been seen before, have not been realized before. Now, this particular footage, of course, is highly sensitive and has already been posted. To those who have the golden key, remember the tip I gave at the beginning of the show. All you need to do is go back to that link I sent you when you joined, acknowledging that you have the golden key. Yeah, click on it. It's a playlist. This particular sensitive footage will be right at the top. And please believe me, this thing is so sensitive that I cannot even give you too much detail in this public video. Okay? But trust me, it is very, very revealing. The most revealing footage ever in this particular case, by far. And when you see it, you will understand why. I am not offering it on its own. It is only available to holders of the golden key. My very sincere apologies. But I believe I've been doing this long enough to at least have an idea of what I'm doing. Okay? And it is because of the sensitivity. But I still feel bad. And that is why I have to eat my own words, because I said there would be no other offer for the golden key. But now I have to eat my words. The offer for a very limited time period, only 24 hours. Only 24 hours, no extensions. Mainly because of what we're dealing with here. You can see the details on your screens right now. To be able to get this golden key for 1 year, the price will be only Kenya shillings 4,999. But if you still want the permanent one, it is Kenya shillings 5,999. You can see details on your screens right now. If you're in a position to, go for it. Folks, please let us brace ourselves for the year 2026. It's going to be a very rough ride, I am afraid, but also a ride where opportunities will exist. And of course, it is also a good idea to make things right with your maker. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.